Hey. You gotta pay for that. You have to pay for that. So we're at NAB 2023, and do you have anything new?
Well, we might have something new. You want to talk about it?
Sure. Yeah, we're releasing Multicam Studio. That means you can shoot up to 6 cameras and a separate audio, put them all in the synchronizer, and they'll all sync up by audio waveform or by timecode, and then go to the fun part, which is switching, and then just tap your way along your edit, and it makes all.
But this takes a MacBook Pro or a 2019 Mac.
Yeah, you know it doesn't.
Yeah, you're somehow connecting it.
No, you can do it on your iPad or your iPhone.
Yeah, in fact, we have some amazing videos that some of our people have done where they've done full multicam shoots and edited entirely on the iPhone, and it's just amazing. And we've, as always, when we've envisioned a feature, we don't envision it like the desktop does it. We re-envision it for, for touch and for mobile. And I'll tell you, I think we've done a really fantastic job. If I want to toot my own horn here, it's...
I'll toot your horn. I'll toot your horn.
It's pretty amazing. Some of the little differences we've done, like when you have a number of switches, they'll be treated as a single container, so you can quickly just move them all together on the timeline, or dive in and pick one out and separate it. So there's little details like that I think just make it easier to edit than you do on traditional multicam features in desktop apps.
Right. So you're continuing your development of LumaFusion on the iPad OS or the iOS, because the way it exists now is fantastic. So you're just continuing this with the multicam.
Right.
Now this has been in development for like couple months.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it as an app inside an app, because multicam editing in LumaFusion is so different than just your regular editing.
Right.
But it does create a clip on your normal timeline that you can edit with normally.
Right.
But it's just that the whole process of it, of syncing up your clips, of mapping your audio during the synchronization process, of switching. We wanted the switching to be like you could set everything up in your synchronizing stage. And then when you're switching, you're just totally having fun, just tapping away. So yeah, it took a long time to settle on a design.
Right. We actually started it back 3 years ago. We did a tech demo of it basically with the iPad Pro M1 release.
Okay.
And it was a great tech demo, and it was a good concept. And then we suddenly got back to the office and realized we don't have a feature here. What we have is a good tech demo. And so we started over effectively to say, okay, we have to redesign everything from the ground up to say, how do we make that feature looks that way actually work that way and actually be useful to our customers for editing videos. And that ended up taking almost 3 years to get out. So it's a lot of work.
I think the perfect description is a separate app.
Yeah. Exactly.
It really, it's a perfect description. It's not a plugin, it's a whole separate app.
3 years to build the original LumaFusion.
Okay.
And this took almost 3 years.
Yes.
So whose idea was the original LumaFusion?
Oh, it's a co-idea.
It's a co-idea. Yeah. We had worked together at Avid and did we'd seen the iPad and realized, hey, this is a great, tool for editing. So we did the first, mobile editor there. And then, we just knew we could do something much, much better, that was really built on a complete new foundation. And that's when we started working on it. So Terry's always done all the design because she knows what editors need, and she has a great sense of design.
Right, exactly.
And I'm a pretty decent coder, so we were able to get it done, so.
You're obviously excited about this multicam feature.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's super fun.
It's a great new feature. And as you know, the app itself is a one-time purchase, $29.
Right.
It'll actually be on sale, by the way, from Tuesday through Saturday for $19.99. So for anybody who hasn't got it yet, that's a good time to get it. And then the Multicam Studio is an in-app purchase, but again, only a one-time purchase, and it's only $20 to add on to the full Multicam Studio. And it's less than a cup of coffee here at the show. So
Or a bottle of water.
Yeah, right. So
for all that matters.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's really exciting. And by the way, the update that's coming out tomorrow not only has Multicam Studio in it, but has some other really nice features as well. We've updated most of our audio filters to have really nice graphic, UIs. So it's much easier to get the results you want out of some of our filters. And we're actually also including a voice isolation filter. And this is a really cool machine learning based voice isolation that Apple developed and that we're including in the app. So it does an amazing job of pulling out background noise and leaving a good voice.
I'm very familiar with Apple's version.
Yeah.
How did you get that?
Well, they make it available as a third-party plugin for anyone to use.
You're kidding me.
So Ferrite already had it available in their app, and we heard about it from one of our people and thought, well, let's get it in our app. And that's one of the great things Apple does. So
Yeah, well, that's the voice isolation came out a year ago in 10.6.2, right before NAB last year, and it's different than background noise removal. People have they kind of conflate the two, but it's different somehow.
yeah.
I don't know if it's the AI technology.
It's the AI. I mean, it's actually, using machine learning, based on its learning to figure out what is the voice in there, based on actual AI rather than based on algorithms that, look at the math of frequency.
And frequencies, right? That's what they did before. The human voice has frequencies. These don't belong there. We'll take these out, take those out, and then you put too much, it sound artificial and robotic.
Exactly.
And the AI, you can really boost it.
Part of the free update that, for people who already own LumaFusion, that'll be there tomorrow. Yeah.
Right.
In fact, like we recorded some sound in here, and there's a lot of air sound coming in, and it's just a single tap, turn it on, and it's just.
Now, I didn't know that Apple made that available.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He made it as a third-party audio unit for anybody who wants to use it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that we've always built on, is that, Apple has created frameworks that are so amazingly optimized, for audio and video, and we've been able to build on that. So we can focus on the editing and the multi-camera features rather than trying to just get video working, which is a hard bit of work.
Oh yeah, audio's
Audio even harder. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, any other updates to LumaFusion itself besides the?
I think those are the two main ones for this release. We have a lot coming, actually, that is in the works and has been in the works for a while. And so there's some fun stuff on the horizon, not too far away. One of my favorite ones that I'll just talk, since I've already talked about plenty. Yes, it's not coming soon, but but on the M2 iPad Pro is an amazing piece of hardware. And we're running a demo there where it's running 16 tracks of 4K video without dropping frames.
It is.
It's just amazing.
No.
So
I'll show it to you.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
16 tracks of 4K
Yeah.
on the M2.
On the M2, yeah, it's just unbelievable. It's just so smooth. It's buttery, just like it was with 6 tracks back on, when
Back in
first
the day, sure,
right, exactly.
sure,
So,
absolutely.
so it just keeps getting better.
It does.
And then how does the Multicam app? How many tracks can that do?
That can do 6 tracks of video and plus an audio,
Plus an audio.
Yeah, as far as singing. So that's a separate, basically it's like a separate project within a project. You have your 6 tracks, you synchronize those, and then bring those into the switcher to, switch between. And we will probably expand that in the future as well. But, frankly, it's a lot of work just to work with 6 cameras, 12 is.
It works on the iPhone, so that was really what drove us to limit it right now. Is we just wanted to get it out and be able to do the iPhone interface, and that's challenging with 6 even. So
Yes. So if you add the Multicam plugin with 6 tracks, how many additional tracks can you do with LumaFusion with the plugin, with the app? I mean.
well, once you switch your 6 tracks, it turns into a container, which is really only playing the one. It goes on a regular track of your timeline, so you still have 5 more.
Yeah, so you have 6 tracks in the main timeline, and then each of those could be consisting of media from 6 tracks, in
But it's really, when you
But
switch
it's one at a
like
time.
one at a time.
Right. I
So,
see.
so it hasn't really changed the number of tracks in the timeline at this
There's
point.
some neat things in there. Like you can put an effect in the synchronizer. You can put an effect on that clip, and it'll show up every time you cut to that clip. Or you can go into the timeline and put an effect on just a switched piece.
Right, so you can do your color
You have
correction
both.
beforehand, and
Yeah.
do a stylized,
You
and
have
then
both.
do additional effects later. It really adds to the flexibility of how you want to work with things. Yeah.
Right. So this NAB, I'm using LumaFusion on my iPhone,
Okay.
which I love. And what I do is, instead of streaming live because of the internet connection, I'll do some short clips, and I'll take them into LumaFusion, cut them up, spit them out, and then I'll stream that live.
Excellent.
Oh, okay.
Before I was taking them off the phone onto the MacBook, which is a real sore point for me. That lightning port is just incredibly, you know what I mean? It's just,
Yeah.
And you can't do 20 clips at a time, it crashes, or it just doesn't fail. So I do 6 at a time. So instead of doing that, I'm leaving them on the phone, just taking them out.
So I'll tell you about a fun demo we did yesterday, with the current version of the app, and it works with any of them, is use this OWC GoDock Pro, GoDock, and hooked up 3 separate SSD drives from different cameras, including a Blackmagic, pocket camera, all connected to the iPad and all editing media directly off those drives, not copied to the iPad. It was just
And we did a
at the same time.
multicam edit of
At the same time.
yeah.
Yeah, it's 3. That's on, again.
Do 4. Maybe.
You could probably do 4. On the M2, it has a fast enough port where I think it can do that. The previous ones were, USB 3. Yeah, but now it's a full Thunderbolt on, and it's. I think the M1 had a Thunderbolt, but it just wasn't rated as fast, as the newest one. So yeah.
Right. So that makes a world of difference. So that gives me hope, because when people talk about editing, on the iPad, and I say, well, I have 1,500 plugins in Final Cut.
Right.
How do I get those over there? I'm not going to rebuy them all.
Yeah.
Either they're going to remake them or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, the iOS and iPad OS have always been designed for more security, so they don't really allow you to run just anything and have apps communicating with each other unless it's very controlled. And so they've allowed audio plugins. I'm hoping in the future we'll see support for video plugins as well, but currently they don't have that. So.
Yeah, well, Roger Bolton did one originally.
Well, we integrated where we actually effectively got the code from him and integrated together. So that's integrated directly in the app, and we'll probably do some more like that. Yeah, where so he sends us a framework and we just sort of connect it up to the app internally.
I see.
Yeah.
So, but it doesn't seem like other companies are following through with at this point.
Well,
it takes a lot of work. Yeah, it's a lot of work to do those individual integrations, and we are talking to companies about that. But the problem is, it is
a collaboration.
For each time versus. When you have a plug-in protocol, then everybody can just write to that, and then it just works in our app. And that's one thing we really hope to see in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. Now, I think the last time I talked to you, you had one person working on the Mac desktop version of LumaFusion. Is that still the same?
It's a little different. So we ended up deciding, we had gotten fairly far along on doing a Mac Catalyst version, but when Apple decided to support iPad apps on M1 and M2 Macs, we decided to go that route because we can. Basically, we were able to make it available immediately and then slowly build out more and more of the desktop style features in there. So with each release, we've been doing more and more in the app to make it work better and better on the desktop. And so we actually have quite a percentage of our users now who use it on MacBooks, and it's growing every week, frankly, with more users who are doing it there.
Now, does that influence your future development of that?
A little bit. I think we'll always be touch first, because that's what we love and what, exactly. But, I think the balance between the two, I think we really like, and supporting both. And frankly, because the iPads have keyboards and trackpads now, it all starts to merge together a little bit, Who knows, maybe we'll see a touch Mac one of these years.
Well, darn well they have one in Cupertino. They have a couple of them around. I remember I think it was Charlie Rose went into Cupertino in their lab one point. Everything was covered up with black cloths and everything. I don't know if you remember that or not. But the famous thing was that they told him, this is 5-6 years ago, that they have over 600 people just working dedicated to the iPhone camera.
I'm not surprised, yeah.
Just the camera, not the iPhone, just the camera in the iPhone. And that's software and 600 people.
Wow.
That's pretty amazing.
Impressive.
Yeah. I'd like to see a little more toward the Final Cut Pro team. But.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
So how is the export to Final Cut Pro app? Has that been updated?
It's been updated a little bit. Now, that's an interesting point, for your users, is that when you export a Multicam project to Final Cut Pro, we'll flatten it down to just regular clips for the moment.
Sure.
We do plan on in the future updating that so that it'll fully support bringing a Multicam project.
Is that right?
Yeah. We know how to do it. It's just going to take some time to do that. So that's the nice thing about the FCP XML format. That's open and we can figure it out. It's time consuming, but it does work, and we can make that happen. So we've done small updates to the FCP XML export, but not a lot. It works well, and it does what people need it to do to get projects over when they need to edit. Yeah.
Right. Just as a user of your applications, thank you for not going subscription.
You're welcome.
I would much rather pay for the XML, and I'd much rather pay for that.
Yeah, we think that's a good model. Is we give people a very powerful editor to begin with, and then let them choose the things they need. So a lot of people need FCP XML, a lot of people don't. There's going to be. We hope a lot of people want Multicam, and I think there's a lot of use for it. But there's some people who don't, and they won't have to pay for that. So
right.
Yeah.
Right. It's fantastic. So it goes on, LumaFusion goes on sale,
tomorrow.
which is the
Yeah.
18th.
Yeah, 18th,
Yeah.
Tuesday the 18th.
Tuesday the
through
18th.
Saturday, yeah, and
Saturday.
yeah, so
Yeah.
it'll be on sale for $19.99, and then of course the Multicam Studio is $19.99 as well. So
Yeah,
so
it's
for
a great,
$40 you have a full multi-track editor and Multicam Studio.
Can't beat that.
no, you absolutely cannot beat that. So who knows what Apple's going to do at WWDC with the new version of a iPad or Pro or whatever.
Yeah, we all like to guess and figure out, but we don't know at this point. So yeah,
Yeah.
we'll wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, plus the other thing was that Apple announced 2 WWDCs ago that they were going to port all their Intel machines over to the M1,
Right.
and they didn't do the Mac Pro yet.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody's.
It's over a year, so that's got to be something big. I mean, something special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason why that didn't make the deadline.
Right. Right.
That they couldn't see that, well, this isn't going to make the deadline because we're doing. Maybe it's going to be the M3. Who the heck knows?
Yeah. Let's hope it's something fun and interesting.
Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing is, I bought the 2019 Mac Pro. I wanted the most powerful Mac that I could have at the time, and then I used it for 2 years. And then I got the M1 Max Pro, MacBook Pro, which I absolutely love.
Yeah.
And that replaced the Mac Pro.
Yeah.
So I just recently sold the Mac Pro locally, and I got almost half price for it. Almost half price. Somebody would bid on it. I'll give you $1,000. I said, come on.
Yeah.
Well, I got a lot of bids for $3,500, but I wanted closer to $4,000, so I got something closer.
Nice.
So that was good.
Yeah.
That was good. Because it's been sitting in my closet since I got my MacBook Pro. Because my MacBook Pro is my desktop and my portable.
I know. That's
Yeah.
how we do it. I've got one cable at my office that goes from my monitor. Just plug in the MacBook Pro when I get there. It's got everything else, one cable, and I'm ready to go and have all the power I need. So that's, I mean, that may be why the, MacBook Pro isn't out, is a lot of people don't need it. But so either it's going to be something special or, they're going to go a different direction. Who knows?
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, they came up with the Studio a year ago.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah. The
right,
Studio looks like I haven't gotten one, but it looks like
I
a
haven't
really nice
either.
computer. Yeah.
I haven't either. I like my MacBook Pro.
Yeah,
I like
right.
having the screen and the
Right.
keyboard and
Yeah.
touchpad and the magnetic.
Yeah.
I mean, the fingerprint.
Fingerprint. I love that.
I love that. I love that too. That's good. Instead of passwords, come on. And then also it goes on your Apple Watch
Right.
if you have that reconnected in.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So how has NAB been for you?
Well, we're up here in BEA,
Right.
which is the educational.
The
sec-
third floor of the West Hall.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Third floor. 2 escalators.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yeah, we weren't going to come to NAB this year.
Oh, you weren't?
No, we've been so busy with Multicam, and we just thought, let's just keep our heads down, do what we need to do to get that out, and not do NAB. But then we were contacted and asked if we would come here, and there's such a great group of
Oh, it is.
people here
Absolutely.
for mobile. We thought, oh yeah, we can't miss that, so we did come.
that's
But we're just here for 2 days. The booth here is just 2 days.
Oh, I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah, be
Yeah.
shorter. But we've enjoyed it. We've met a lot of new people, a lot of people who already know our app and love it, and we've had some of our people do some great talks about, continued talks about using mobile for complete, production, from obviously camera work and editing, and now multicam. It really changes the game,
No, it does. And when I talked to you, I think that one of the last times, and you were talking about how the interface changes for the phone versus the iPad, but everything's still there pretty much.
Oh,
Right.
You just got to
Yeah.
find out where.
Yeah, it's a little
Completely.
different. Yeah, but we try to keep it similar, but find out how to make it all fit and have, because there's not one feature missing on the iPhone that's on the iPad. So
That's amazing. And so I started looking at that. I said, well, I want to use the iPhone rather than my iPad, and
Right.
that's what I've been doing.
good.
And sometimes I use it horizontal,
Right.
and sometimes I use it vertical because vertical the viewer's bigger.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I like that sometimes.
Yeah, and that's why we did that. Is we have a few different layouts that you can choose from because it's not a lot of screen real estate, so everybody's going to use it a little differently, and we want to promote that. And now we added the feature to allow you to resize elements, so that you can
Right.
make something bigger and something
Right.
smaller. It
Yeah.
really helps people choose how they want to edit.
Now I want Apple to make the pencil used on the iPhone.
Oh,
No, I just
yeah.
said that today.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I was like, because the iPhone, you feel like you want to get touch.
Yeah.
You can't use it. So
I wonder why.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, it is specialty hardware in the
Yeah.
the screen section.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, and so to get that high resolution and the hover handling and things like that, it's a different piece of work. So,
Okay,
yeah,
that's what I was wondering if that's what it was. If
Yeah.
the screens are different. It seems,
yeah,
from the outside it's not that different, but
No.
that makes complete sense.
yeah.
Fantastic. Congratulations to both of you.
Thank you.
Multicam. What's the Multicam app called?
Multicam Studio, but it's just an in-app purchase inside of LumaFusion.
LumaFusion. Okay.
So when you update to the new version of the LumaFusion, you'll see a nice little thing that'll tell you about Multicam and give you the option to buy it or learn more about it.
Fantastic. You both deserve a lot of congratulations.
Thank you.
For both LumaFusion and the new Multicam Studio.
Yeah.
And what's next? I mean,
We have so much. We usually make the mistake of talking too much, but we have a lot of nice new features that are coming not too far off. This was such a big development, but in the meantime, we have had some of our engineers working on other things, and so we'll have some updates coming in the next few months that I think will really excite people and add some more new capabilities to the app.
yes.
Yeah.
Thanks for having an audio mixer.
Yeah, you bet.
I mean, you have an audio mixer on a phone and an iPad. It's incredible.
Yeah.
So what plug-in architecture does the audio? Is it the same?
It's called AU unit. It's the same.
It's different than just regular AU.
Yeah, it is. It's a little, well, the trick on the iPad and iOS is that the developer of the third-party audio units have to actually create an app that embeds their AU plugin.
Okay.
And then, so you buy the app, install that, and then that shows up as available to an app
I
like
see.
ours. So it's a little, not cumbersome, but a little different than your usual, plug-in architecture. But I would love to see a video equivalent of that, because that would make a huge difference for
Yeah.
the ecosystem, and especially with, other players coming into the space on iPads. There ought to be a standard for plugins, for
Yeah.
video now.
Right. So Apple has said for a long time they are not merging iOS and macOS.
Yep.
But it seems like they're headed that direction. It just seems like it.
Well, the way I see it is that, and I actually see it the same with editing, is that the features are converging, on desktop versus mobile editing. We're going to continue to add features until hopefully there's nothing missing in,
Right.
LumaFusion that you could ever do on a desktop. But there's always going to be some differences, the touch-based interface, the more secure,
Yeah.
those will always be different. Now, if they come out with a touch-based Mac, maybe I'll eat my words there, but I have a feeling they're always going to keep them different. It will start to feel more and more the same, and you won't feel much of a difficulty going back and forth between them.
Right.
But there'll always be those little differences between the two platforms where you'll want to use the iPad for this and want to use your desktop for that, and I think that'll remain.
When people, I've been talking about a touch-based MacBook Pro for a long time. I'm not so sure anymore that I would necessarily want one. But when people say, well, they're not going to make one, and I pull out the picture of the MacBook Pro with the keyboard, I said,
Yeah.
what is this? Tell me what the difference between
Right.
MacBook Pro with touchscreen and an iPad.
iPad with a keyboard.
yeah.
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 I know.
And you can use a mouse
Right.
with it, the Bluetooth mouse.
Yeah, so no, they definitely are converging in a lot of ways, but I think they'll, and with the new Stage Manager that they did, that's on both, iPad and Mac OS, sort of brings the similarity of the desktop management as well. So,
Okay.
there's no question that they're bringing them closer and closer together. I think there'll always be some differences just from a use standpoint.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Well, congratulations to both of you.
thank you.
Thank you.
And welcome to NAB 2023.
Thank
Yeah.
And now you're going to go home and relax,
Yeah,
right?
that's right. Yeah.
Or a little
Or
bit.
start on the next thing.
That's right.
I'm here till Wednesday, and I'm going to go home and relax.
Yeah, sounds
Every
good.
time I get here, I'm always excited about getting here.
Yeah.
And the closer I get to the day I'm going home, I'm saying I'm never going to do this again.
Yeah, I know.
It's like I'm so tired, and I want to get home. And
I tell people I have a love-hate relationship. with trade
Exactly.
shows. The energy here and the fun of talking to
Oh, it's
people who I know is just
fantastic.
unbelievable. But boy, it's a lot of work and tiring. Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
long days, and
Yeah.
I'm a one-man band.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. Yeah.
you know,
yeah, you're
other
doing
people-
everything. Yeah.
Yeah. I can make him do all the work.
Well, exactly. All the heavy lifting and
That's
everything.
right.
So
How many NABs have you been at?
from 17, 18, 19, and then 22 and 23.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously the two, 20 and
Pandemic
21,
ones, yeah.
we didn't have them.
Yeah.
But next year we'll just have to see. But I'm hoping that they do another creative summit in Cupertino this year.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that would
wouldn't
be nice.